Hey beauties, morning to you. All right, so in another video I had stated, sorry, that I'm 2 hours in the Prime Minister's 2024 budget debate speech. All right, so I am giving my 2 cents as it relates to some of the things that he has stated and promulgated. All right, he was crackling some joke. I must give him his speech. So far, I would give him 8 out of 10. Thus far, he has improved, by leaps and bounds in terms of his presentation skills and maybe some of the content. He was really hitting in terms of how monies are to be used and what they have done and so forth as it relates to a budget debate. So it was very clear, it was very specific. It didn't seem all over the place. Thus far, I'm only 2 hours in because it's a 5-hour thing. Although half an hour is in the beginning, half an hour is with like ads and, things about the whole budgetary debate and so on. So, we would say 4 hours and 30 minutes thereabout. Okay. The Prime Minister says, listen, we all have good ideas, whether you're PNP, whether you're JLP or from whichever sphere or, or politically aligned to anything. We all have ideas. And he basically was saying that if you don't implement ideas, then it's null and void. He went and he cracked a joke where he said, you can consider me. He said, I want to crack this joke. I'm going to go ahead and do it. He said, I'm the baby father to or in implementing ideas. So bring all your ideas and I will implement them. I guess he's saying that because people have been throwing words around. I've heard people that, JLP is taking credit for something that was an idea of the PNP and so on. I've heard people saying that. All right, and he does have a point. It is like work. I can use this particular jargon. Work not documented is like work not done. So he does have a good point about that. If ideas are not implemented, it's like you really never had the idea. There are some ideas that have come across my mind and I see people implement it. I can't get up and say, boy, I had that idea. I really genuinely have had that idea because we all are universally linked. So as humans, we will have similar ideas. You alone, you won't stand alone in an idea. It may be a little bit different. It may tweak a little differently. But they all will link because we're universally linked. We're human beings, Even we're made with similar body parts and so on. And there are some things that we will have universal consensus on. We will have universal thinking on. So it therefore means that some of the ideas, I might have an idea. You must find at least 1 or 2 other people who will have similar ideas. All right. So he does have a point where that part is concerned. It's about the implementation of the ideas. So by saying, it's a JLP who had the idea first, but the PNP implemented it, or by saying, it's a PNP who had the idea first, but the JLP implemented it. What I will agree with him on is that you must give credence to those who came up with the ideas. I will subscribe to that. I will advocate for that, especially if they put it publicly. If they've put it to the fore. But if you keep it to yourself, you can't really expect to be rewarded publicly like that. In other words, I can have an idea in my mind. It stays in my mind. I have not said anything to anyone. And then when somebody implements it, because somebody else had a similar idea, I'm going to say, but it's my idea. No. It doesn't work like that. So he says he's a baby father to implementing ideas, that we must bring the ideas to him. I'm glad that Prime Minister Andrew Holness has actually said that. Now, you talk about fiscal responsibility, financial prudence. Basically, I'm putting it in my own words. That you don't want to just do things because you want to please the people. And then you find 2 years' time there is a wage freeze, because of financial suicide. I will agree that, we must be, we have to be very steadfast. We have to be very succinct. We have to be very careful. We have to be very smart in anything that we do. And financial literacy and financial prudence takes time, it takes care, it takes effort. You can't just willy-nilly do something because you want to please a set of people. I do agree with that. But at the same time, sir, I'm going to say this to you. If you're going to use that analogy, if you're going to use that argument that in 2 years' time there was a wage freeze, and you've noticed it over successive governments, that if they implement a little wage increase, 2 years' time or thereabout, there's a wage freeze. One, my question then to you is, in a case like that, why then did we have the 100%, 200%, 300% increase in certain people in public sector, while you had a 20% increase in which I heard a lady said she got 17. You said they were in two tranches. It really was based on what the finance minister had said in 2022. I think it was December or 2023, one of the 2 years, where he said it would be split. It would be like 5, then 10, then 5, or 10, then 5, then 5, something of the sort, whichever way. But it would have been done in 3 tranches, or 3, you split them up in 3. That is what he had mentioned, So when you make the comparison that, we have to be very careful. Let me ask a question. When I say you, I'm talking plural you as it relates to the administration, that JLP administration. Did you guys think carefully in terms of the 100%, 200%, 300% increase? When you do that, can you assure the Jamaican people that in 2 years' time there won't be a wage freeze? Because you realize, I think we gave ourselves, it was too big. Remember, Dan Jackson Miller was showing a comparison with other countries that are doing well financially, and their salaries were not that high. You had mentioned that, boy, if you want premiums, you mentioned the very same thing I talked about that will generate income. It has to do with high skilled, and you can say highly educated people too. Highly skilled, both goes in tandem. So even if you don't have the highest level of education, there must be some high level of training. There are people who are highly skilled, they may not be highly educated, the formal education we're talking about, but both work in tandem. Both will generate income, sustain it for us, and bring in an increase. That is what you call good stewardship financially. So the part and parcel of the wage freeze, as I mentioned in another video, is that we don't have in droves highly skilled, highly educated people. We're at 138th place in terms of literacy or illiteracy, whichever way you want to look at it. Many low skilled people. There are many misfits even in companies, people in managerial positions who really shouldn't be there because they really don't have that level of competence or comprehension skills, critical thinking skills to know how to be good stewards over people. They're poor managers, poor stewards, because it's just not their forte, it's not their calling. That's a reality. Promotion is low in general in this country. Promotion is low. There are people who should have been promoted many moons ago and they're not. They can't get jobs. They have to. When people tell me that I don't know how true it is, but somebody was telling me of somebody who has a PhD and working at a call center on the phone. We're talking at one of the lowest levels. We're not talking in a managerial post. That individual has a PhD. Maybe that person is a loyalist, devoted to Jamaica, decide that they're going to try their best. There are many people who are underused in terms of their level, in terms of their competencies, their skills. They just have to take what them get. That is a cry for many years. So naturally, you're not going to get the best results when you have these misfits. You have the puzzle, it look puggy, it looks swollen because the pieces are not in the right places. So those who should have been in the managerial are not there, they're below, and those who should not have been there, they're there. So you're going to have almost this diatribe. You're going to have this war, this sort of a tribalism going on. And what happens, it puts a damper and stagnates our economy from growing, from monies being attracted, from investors being attracted in the right way to boom and boost the economy. So did you think about that though, sir, when the 100%, 200%, 300% increase? Because they said you can't do things willy-nilly, hairy-fairy. I'm just using those terminologies. While the public sector workers get 20%. And yet some of them, and I'm sure it will not cause a wage freeze in 2 or so years' time if they're to get their back monies. Look at what the JCSA president, the Jamaica Civil Service Association president said, that she's been trying to contact the Ministry of Finance for however long, because there's some back monies that should have been given. They've given everything to you guys for the monies to be, and up to now nothing. Not one of them have been tabled, passed, and said, okay, we're going to do this for you guys. Knowing the difficulties of people, you've been talking that you talk to people, knowing the difficulties that the people are going through. And trust me, giving those back monies with a passenger mileage, salary, that, should have been increased in terms of back money retro, that's not going to create any wage freeze in years to come. think about these things in implementing ideas, sir. Follow me on TikTok, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share this message.